It was not a story from ancient centuries. It was a story from the present time, from the modern world where cities are full of lights, tall buildings, busy roads, and thousands of people chasing their dreams every single day. In the large city of Riverton, located in the country of Norland, there was a crowded neighborhood on the edge of the city where life was very different from the shining downtown streets. The neighborhood was called Brookside Quarter. Small houses stood close together, many made from old bricks and tin roofs. The roads were uneven, and during rain they often turned into muddy paths. Electricity sometimes went out, and clean water was not always available. Yet, despite all these hardships, the people living there shared something precious: kindness, patience, and the will to survive. In one of those tiny houses lived a poor man named Daniel Carter. Daniel was about 42 years old. His face carried the marks of long years of hard work. His hands were rough and cracked from lifting heavy loads, and his clothes were simple and worn out. But his eyes held a quiet strength and a gentle kindness that many people noticed immediately. Daniel worked as a day laborer. Every morning before sunrise, he woke up, washed his face with cold water, and quietly stepped outside while the city was still half asleep. His wife Martha and their 2 children were usually still resting on thin mattresses on the floor. Martha was a patient and caring woman. She understood her husband's struggles better than anyone else. She never complained about the difficult life they lived. Instead, she always tried to encourage him. Their son Lucas, who was 9 years old, dreamed of becoming a teacher one day. Their little daughter Emma, only 6, loved drawing pictures and often filled old notebooks with colorful sketches of houses, trees, and smiling people. Daniel loved his children deeply, but there was something that often made his heart heavy: the fear that he might not be able to give them the future they deserved. Every morning, Daniel walked nearly 40 minutes to the central labor market, a place where contractors and builders came to hire workers for construction projects. Hundreds of men stood there every day, hoping to be chosen. Some days Daniel found work. Other days, he returned home with empty hands. On those difficult days, he avoided looking directly into his children's hopeful eyes. One cold winter morning, the city was covered in thick fog. The air was sharp and freezing. Daniel wrapped his old jacket tightly around himself and headed toward the labor market like always. But that day was different. Construction projects had slowed down, and many workers had already gathered before sunrise. Contractors arrived, selected a few strong men, and quickly left. Daniel waited. An hour passed, then another. By noon, the crowd had slowly disappeared, leaving only a few disappointed workers behind. Daniel's stomach growled with hunger. He had not eaten since the night before. He sat down on a low concrete wall beside the road, rubbing his tired hands together to warm them. Cars passed by quickly. Inside those cars were people living lives completely different from his. Warm clothes, comfortable seats, no worries about tomorrow's food. Daniel. Just as he was about to stand up and walk back home, something on the road caught his eye. A wallet. It lay near the curb, partially hidden by fallen leaves. Daniel looked around. No one seemed to notice it. He slowly walked over and picked it up. The wallet was made of fine leather. It felt heavy. Daniel opened it carefully. Inside were several bundles of cash. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. For a moment, his heart started beating faster. He imagined what that money could do. Food for months, new clothes for the children, school supplies, even medicine for Martha, who had been feeling weak lately. A voice inside his mind whispered, "No one saw you pick it up." But another voice spoke louder in his heart, "That money does not belong to you." Daniel closed the wallet and held it tightly. He took a deep breath. Then he opened it again and searched for identification. Inside, he found a business card and a driver's license. The name read, Alexander Bennett. Below the name was an address in Silver Heights, the wealthiest district of Riverton. Daniel stared at the card for a few seconds. Silver Heights was far from Brookside Quarter, nearly 2 hours away by foot. But Daniel had already made his decision. He would return the wallet. It was late afternoon when Daniel finally reached Silver Heights. The difference between the two neighborhoods was unbelievable. Wide, clean streets, beautiful gardens, large houses surrounded by tall gates, expensive cars parked in shining driveways. Daniel felt slightly uncomfortable standing there in his worn clothes. But he gathered his courage and approached the large gate of the address written on the card. A security guard stopped him immediately. "Can I help you?" Daniel politely showed the wallet. "I think this belongs to Mr. Bennett." The guard looked. He checked the wallet quickly, then spoke into his radio.
A few minutes later, the large door of the mansion opened. A tall man in his early 50s walked outside. He looked worried and slightly frustrated. When he saw the wallet in Daniel's hand, his eyes widened with relief. "My wallet? Where did you find it?" Daniel explained everything honestly. Alexander Bennett opened the wallet and checked the contents. Everything was still there. The cash, the cards, important documents. He looked back at Daniel with disbelief. "Do you realize how much money was in here?" Daniel shrugged gently. "I didn't count it." Alexander stared at him. "You could have kept it. No one would know." Daniel smiled faintly. "My parents taught me something when I was young," he said calmly. "Money earned the wrong way never brings peace." For several seconds, Alexander Bennett said nothing. Then he slowly smiled. In his long career as a successful businessman, he had met thousands of people, but rarely someone like Daniel. He reached into the wallet and pulled out a thick stack of cash. "Please take this as a reward." Daniel stepped back. "I'm sorry, sir, but I cannot accept it." Alexander raised his eyebrows. "Why not?" "Because returning it was simply the right thing to do." The businessman remained silent for a moment. Then he asked another question. "What do you do for a living?" "I work as a laborer, when I find work." Alexander nodded slowly. "Come to my warehouse tomorrow morning," he said. "I think I might have a job for you." Daniel's eyes filled with hope. The next day, Daniel arrived early at the warehouse. At first, he worked like any other laborer, loading boxes and organizing shipments. But something quickly became clear. Daniel worked harder than anyone else. He never complained. He never took shortcuts. And most importantly, he was completely honest. If something was missing, he reported it. If a mistake happened, he admitted it. Months passed. Alexander Bennett noticed everything. One evening, he called Daniel into his office. "Daniel, I have been watching you closely." Daniel stood quietly, slightly nervous. Alexander continued. "You remind me of something this world desperately needs." Daniel looked confused. "Honesty." The businessman leaned back in his chair. "Starting next week, you will supervise the warehouse." Daniel could hardly believe what he was hearing. His salary increased. Life slowly became easier. Martha received proper medical treatment. His children started attending a better school. Years passed. Daniel continued working with the same sincerity. Eventually, Alexander Bennett made an even bigger decision. One day, he placed several documents on the desk in front of Daniel. "Sign these." Daniel looked at the papers, confused. "What are they?" Alexander smiled warmly. "They make you a partner in the company." Daniel's hands trembled slightly. A poor laborer from Brookside Quarter, now becoming a business partner. Tears filled his eyes. He whispered quietly, "I never imagined something like this could happen." Alexander replied gently, "Honest people deserve opportunities." Even after becoming successful, Daniel never forgot where he came from. He often visited Brookside Quarter. He helped families who struggled the way he once had. He paid school fees for poor children. And whenever someone asked him the secret of his success, Daniel always gave the same simple answer. Life does not always reward the richest people. He paused, then smiled softly. But sooner or later, it always rewards the most honest ones.